Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about the Crystal Power Tarot. So this deck is by Jane Wallace and illustrated by Roberta Orpwood. I love watercolor artwork and she does just stunning work, like beautiful. I love her artwork. It comes in this little box. It opens. It is a sturdy box. I like it. Had this weird thing inside that honestly was just going to damage the cards. Like if you have this deck, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It had this like cardboard cutout thing inside of it that was like damaging the cards within like the second time I took the cards out and tried to put them back in. Here's the guidebook. It's a smaller guidebook. It is in full color, which is really nice. And I like that this deck shares a little insight on crystals with it. I love crystals. I have a ton of them. I think it just adds a whole other layer to the reading. So I think that that's a cool thing. You have this little book you can reference if for whatever reason you don't know the properties of a certain crystal. There's this. Yeah, it's a cool little book. I like it. It's cute. It doesn't have like a ton of information, but it's enough for this deck. So this, it doesn't come like this. I added this little pouch to hold the cards in because I took that cardboard thing out and I put them in here so they're not flopping around and they're all open. I love the artwork. Even the backs of the cards is just so pretty. So they're not in order because I've used them. I'm not really doing a flip through anyways. I really just want to share how you can use them. My first thing I got most excited with when I got this deck was the idea of using this as a moon, like a new moon deck in particular. Let me explain what I mean by that. So this deck comes with these little like mantra, positive affirmation type of things on the bottom of each card. I feel like that adds a great layer. I think the book calls them power messages, but you know, they're the same sort of idea. And each card has its own power message, mantra, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like that in and of itself makes this such a cool new moon deck because you could pull a card for that moon cycle, for the intentions you're setting. Okay, whether it be what are the intentions I should be setting at this time, what's something I need to be reminded of while I'm working towards my intentions for this month. You have this little mantra. It's like this added layer of what you could be focusing on. So let me grab something like here's the Hermit card. So yeah, it says I follow my own path. You have a crystal up here. Turquoise was the crystal they selected for this card. So you have these two added layers to the traditional energy of the Hermit itself. You could take that introspective energy of the Hermit turning inwards and say, okay, maybe for this new moon, it would be beneficial for me to set an intention to kind of do some inner work, some soul work, maybe I need to meditate more. Maybe I need to focus more on what's important to myself, what aligns me really with my truth, those sorts of things. And then you have this mantra, I follow my own path. You could kind of write that down somewhere, allow that to be a reminder throughout that moon cycle of what your focus is to help kind of keep you on track, whether you write it on a post-it and put it somewhere that you see it every day. You could leave this card out. You could use this crystal. So you have the turquoise here. That could be another reminder for you. That's why I really like this for almost cyclical work in general. That's why I like it for moon cycle, but I think that it would be a great option if you weren't using it for moon ritual, because that's not really something you do. It could be great for any sort of intention setting work. I like that type of work for this deck in particular, personal growth, those sorts of things, because it has this mantra, it has the crystal, it has all these added layers that will allow you to kind of go a little deeper with the card than even just the traditional interpretations or even intuitive interpretations that you already get. There's already so much there in tarot, but to have these added layers is kind of cool. One thing I really appreciate about this deck is that some of the majors have a very different, non-traditional type of depiction, but it gets the message across so well. This death card, there's no traditional imagery. At the same time, like you get the point so clearly. Like it's a beautiful death card. Like there's all of the, you have this like phantom crystal here where there's like something growing within it. You have the butterfly that symbolizes transformation, fall here happening, and then like, so like the kind of like the cycles of life, like death and rebirth. It says here, I let go and embrace new beginnings. It has that death card energy, but in a completely different way. I will say that like the minors are like pip style, which isn't what I usually love, but with this deck, it works. Like here you have the Six of Pentacles, and it gives you a crystal for all of the minors of the Pentacle suit, and then you have your power message for this card in particular, which is unique to the card. I give and receive for universal good. So you're able to work with it in a more organic way than with some traditional pip cards, where sometimes it can be difficult for your intuition to kind of flow with those cards because, you know, you just have literally 6 coins in front of you. But if you have knowledge of numerology, you can incorporate that. You can use your knowledge of malachite as a crystal, incorporate that, and the power message to add that final layer. That's why these pip style minors don't bother me. Just so you can see a little bit of what the imagery is like. It has a very dreamy feel to it. That's why I feel like working with this card, even for like dream readings, if that's something that you do, even like soul path readings, those are the kinds of things that I think this deck would be really great for. Intention setting. Look at this Empress card. I mean, gosh, it's like one of the most beautiful Empress cards I've seen. So this is a very, very non-traditional devil card, but I do feel like it works for sure. It still has that symbolism with the locks, and you almost get the feeling that these are like the chains, these swirls around the couple. Very cool. This High Priestess is something else. I love it. I would love to hear if there's any unique ways you have found working with this deck in particular, or if there's a specific deck that you find that is like, you know, a tarot deck, but maybe you read it more like an oracle, or maybe there's specific types of readings you like to do with certain decks. And I think that's where we can really get into like the nitty-gritty of the different decks and like what all we can use them for. And you know, why have multiple decks unless you're going to use them for different things, or because there's a certain energy in them that maybe at certain times in your life or certain situations you gravitate towards that deck for a reason. So I think it's important to kind of really think about the reasoning behind why we have, you know, multiple decks and what we use them for, and it gives them a deeper purpose and meaning in our practice, I think, when we do that. I hope you found that to be kind of insightful and cool thing to think about, different ways you can. Hope it gave you some ideas of how you can work with this deck in particular. I hope you enjoyed the video overall, and thank you so much for watching. Take care, be well, and talk to you next time.